Testes, testing,
testicle, poop,
Corbin.
Hello.
Hi.
How?
Okay. And we're rolling. What's up, everybody? This is my little disclaimer today. My disclaimer is that I'm not a medical professional. I'm just a freaky little bleeder who talks all about menstruation and menstruation adjacent things. And I also cuss, but not like a sailor, just like someone who maybe was in love with the sailor, and I occasionally say fuck. So, welcome. It's your host, Ash. If you want to tell your friends or enemies about this podcast, make sure you use they, them pronouns for me. I'm a biracial, Ecuadorian American, bisexual, non-binary, Scorpio, bleeder. And I'm really excited because my parents are in Ecuador and they're going to pick me up some cacao, which is a superfood for your uterus. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm also sober, if you didn't know. I celebrated 3 years and 11 months of sobriety on the 17th. And today's guest is one of my best friends and an amazing artist and creator and animal lover, and we're reuniting at her place today. So I'm super excited about this episode. So please introduce yourself.
My name is Squid.
Yes, Squid. We're at Squid's place.
I am she, her.
And what are your passions? What do you like to do?
I like to watch anime and garden.
Nice. Yeah, Squid has an incredible plant selection, indoor and outdoor.
And chickens. I'm a crazy chicken lady.
Yeah. Tell, what are the names of your chickens?
We have Lady Mary and Lady Cordelia and the twins, which are Posy and Petunia.
Adorbs. And who's also joining us as a guest?
Vivian is joining us as a guest, hacking her cute little greyhound mouth.
That's her intro.
Yeah, that's her intro.
That's Vivi. That's her pronouns are and we love
Adopt greyhounds. That's my shout out.
Yeah.
Adopt greyhounds.
Hell yeah. Oh, and Vivi's awesome. She was wearing my hat earlier. It was awesome. It was so cute. And what other things do you like to do? Like, for example, like what art do you like working on right now?
I like resin art.
Mm-hmm.
I am working on making toilet seats.
Shit, okay.
So that's, some sparkly, weird toilet seats, and yeah, basically garden. That's where I've been channeling all my creativity is in the yard.
Yeah. And what are your favorite things to garden?
I really, really liked growing broccoli this year.
Cool.
I got to know the cold ones. I've never planted like the root vegetables or the ones that do well in the cold because I never think about it.
The winter ones, yeah.
But I was like, oh my god, I'm on time. I can actually do it, and they all got eaten by groundhogs, but
that's lame.
I had never seen how a broccoli grows.
Me neither. That's cool. That's awesome. Are they like little trees?
Little trees inside bushes.
Yeah. Huh. That's beautiful. What's your least favorite thing to garden?
Probably tomatoes because they're so basic.
Yeah.
You have tomatoes.
You have hella tomatoes though.
I have the hillbilly ones that they're like tie-dyed. They haven't grown yet, but the tie-dyed ones are cool. And I'm growing ghost peppers.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask if you were thinking of putting your menstrual blood in the garden one day.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, make them grow, make them fertile. So I'm going to do my little update, and then I'll ask you about your cycle. So my cycle update first of all, thank you for having me at your place. We're at Squid's place, not in the womb room. And I'm going to give y'all my cycle update. So I'm on day 8 of my cycle. And I'm feeling more alive. I've been really tired because I've been trying to change my sleep schedule by a couple hours. But I'm in my follicular phase, so I'm feeling flirty and follicular. I'm also efforting more, in just like in daily activities. But I've been posting my cycle updates on my Instagram, so if you're not on there, this is what has been happening. I have a highlight reel on my Instagram page that each month I just like in between episodes talk about what's going on in my cycle. It's mainly good for me to keep track of, just like insights that I have about the cycle and how I'm feeling. But the gist is that May, June were pretty painful, like 7 out of 10 pain. And like I would relate that feeling to like when you're walking really fast and you hit your like hip really hard on a table, like that was like the pain, like stop in my tracks, like shit. And I kind of like I attribute that to like, and I'm not doing like too great with like my diet, just like drinking extra caffeine and stress. I was dealing with insomnia and I wasn't taking magnesium. Like I was taking it like during my cycle, but not throughout the month. And I accepted it all, but it was very painful. But this time, this cycle from June to July, I like stepped it up. I took my magnesium every day. My luteal phase went relatively easily, mentally and physically. My pain was like a 3 out of 10 this time. I've only been drinking like one caffeinated tea a day, and then I've been taking magnesium every day. I'm still working on sleep. I'm trying to like get 8 hours. And I started drinking raspberry leaf tea this cycle, which is a home remedy for menstrual cramps and uterine health. So I think it helps. Like I barely had any uterine cramps, some back cramps, some chest soreness, and I'm feeling like pretty grateful that it was successful. Um, and then the other things I do is like clary sage on my feet the week before, and peppermint for my aches, and so far so good. So I'm hoping to keep it up, but I accept my best each month. So Squid, how was this cycle for you?
My cycle. Well, I'm not really sure when it begins and when it ends. Like, what to count? Like, is it, some people see their cycle as ending when their period comes, and some people see it as it's starting.
Yeah, I usually do like the first day of my bleed is day 1. But everyone is different.
Yeah. Okay. Then yeah. Well, my last bleed was a 3-day period. That
Wow.
is not something that's ever happened before.
How long are they usually?
4 days, 5 days.
Mine will last for like a week, like 7 days, and I'll like spot for a little bit too. That's wild.
I'll spot, but I have like my first 2 days are like heavy.
So it kind of just like waterfalls out.
Yeah,
it
just
once.
Waterfalls out of my vagina. Just blip.
Damn.
So
yeah. Holy shit. A lot of people like would like that, but I imagine like it's a short period of time that your uterus is trying to shed its things.
Yeah, so I need like, the big tampons.
Right, like the dildo sized tampons.
Yeah, the giant like phallic ones. Yeah, my mom got me regular ones, and I was like, am I a joke to you?
Yeah, like what
am I a joke to you?
Yeah.
What is this tiny thing?
So what app do you use?
Yes, I don't know what it's called. It comes with, it's on the health.
Oh, it's like the Apple Health.
Yeah, the Apple Health. Like I literally do not use anything else. Like the steps or whatever. I just use it to track my period.
Cool. So that like counts how many days you have?
Yeah. It was predicting wrong at first, and I was like, haha, you don't know me.
Right.
But now it's been a few cycles. Yeah, actually,
It's getting right. How long are your cycles then?
30 days.
30 days. That's a good day. So like 30 days and 3 of those days you're bleeding. Yeah. You just bled like a couple weeks ago.
On the 8th.
So you're getting geared up to.
Yeah, that's just blood wise. So, I don't really. In this app, you can put your,
like your symptoms.
But I honestly don't even want to think about it when I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's more like tracking the days and tracking like what you do.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because like I have cramps and actually, so I had 2 3-day periods.
Nice.
They've seemed sort of short recently. After I had my IUD taken out.
Oh, was it hormonal?
No.
Oh,
I just had the Paragard.
Yeah.
And having that, they put it in wrong.
Jesus.
But I didn't realize it. My cervix was too small, so they had to do it surgically. And they didn't do it right. So I had contractions.
Yeah.
So for like 5 years, I just had these horrible, like 2-week-long periods
of bleeding
and just being like, why am I still alive? How is this possible?
Yeah, that's really intense. Like I've heard that it makes them longer, but never like 2 weeks of bleeding.
Yeah, and the cramps, I mean, just every time I was like, I have endometriosis.
Yeah.
Like the way that I was describing it, my gynecologist was like, yeah, you probably do have endometriosis, and we're gonna make a plan, but let's wait till you get your IUD taken out because you need to get it out soon.
Yeah.
And they took out the IUD, and I screamed.
Did they pull it out?
Yes. Ugh. And I went, fuck!
Yeah, I bet. I would have punched somebody.
Yeah, it was not good.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I'm going to have to do that when I'm in 3 years, is get mine taken out. Any tips?
Just
bite down on something.
Bite down on something.
Okay,
get ready. I had the Paragard because I couldn't have the hormones because PMDD.
Right.
My first period after getting my IUD taken out was like heaven.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God. I had like 4 days. I was like, oh my God.
I know. I'm sure a lot of people would be really envious of a 3-day cycle. Do you feel like
I've earned it? I feel
okay.
like I have earned it.
Yeah.
I have
been
in so much pain, and the PMDD that leads up to it. It would be too cruel a world for me to
keep going with the 2-week cycle.
Yeah, to keep doing that.
Paragard is so hit or miss. I have a Paragard myself, and that's why I'm very fortunate that it was just like hasn't given me any issues like that. But a lot of people do report contractions, long cycles. And what was your self-care, or like what is your self-care for your cycle?
I'm not great with self-care. I am actually terrible with self-care. It's just kind of hang on.
Right.
I'm just like that hang in there kitty. Like,
yeah.
There was a time when I was like, okay, like this is a beautiful time. Take a bath.
This is a beautiful
be the
time.
divine feminine.
Right.
It was just, that was horseshit though for me. I couldn't. There's nothing real about that. That was
me too.
Me trying something.
In my recent one of my recent my reel that I made, I was like, I don't feel like a divine feminine goddess bleeding. I feel like a dirty wolf in the woods scratching my back on it. That's like my soul of my menstruation is like creature.
Yeah.
Hang
in there, and I take CBD, THC, Delta 9 gummies. That has been that's my self-care.
Right. And does that help with like the pain and the bleeding as well?
No, I don't think it affects the bleeding. The pain, yeah, it does affect the pain.
Like it helps it.
It helps the pain, but it's mostly for PMDD that I take it for mood.
Yeah, well, let's get into our topic today since we're about to go into it. I'm really grateful that you're willing to share your experience. Today's topic is
PMDD.
Woo! So, PMDD. PMDD. It's means premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It the National Library of Medicine puts it. Premenstrual stress is a constellation, is the word they use, of mood, behavioral, and physical indications before the bleeding phase of the cycle, and PMDD is a more severe and life impairing form of PMS. So the symptoms I looked up, it's in the DSM-5 under other depressive disorders and has similarities with symptoms of depression and anxiety, such as suicidality, which is a big one, insomnia, overwhelm, irritability, difficulty concentrating, fatigue, change in appetite, along with interfering with social and work function, physical symptoms of PMS like bloating, tenderness, joint muscle pain, etc. And they say there are 3 heads of PMDD: the mood, the behaviors like the decrease in activities and appetite, and somatic, which is the feelings in the body. And that generally the intensity decreases after bleeding. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you feel like is missing from that definition?
No, I mean, it's got it.
Word. And what's your relationship like to your PMDD?
It is not good. It is not a good relationship. It is a hate relationship.
Yeah.
Basically, it comes down to I have 2 good weeks and 2 bad weeks. And the bad, once we start the bad, it gets really bad and badder and worse until I start bleeding, and then it's like, okay, normal, sort of irritable, blah, blah, blah.
Well, like, when you start bleeding, at what point do you start to see it change back into your good week?
Probably after like 3 or 4 days.
Okay, gotcha.
Like, it fluctuates. It'll
Yeah.
be like, there'll be a moment where it's like, oh, I don't hate him.
Mm.
Oh, PMDD's gone.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I don't feel rejected by the dog. PMDD's gone.
Right. Those are the signals for you that it's like here and gone.
Yeah.
And when did you, or like how long have you known that you had it?
Because I was getting like some birth control when I was like a teenager, and I was responding very badly to it. Like monstrous, like hostile, and I mean PMDD, what PMDD feels like, and and it was like, oh, okay, that must be the hormone. So I knew there was like a hormone thing,
right?
And I guess just I forgot about that. PMDD is just, to explain it, it comes in and it changes you. It changes. It's not like PMS, like I'm really irritable today. Right. It's like your whole personality and reality shifts.
Yeah, so that is kind of something that isn't really described because, like, I feel like the symptoms that I read are kind of similar to, like, aside from like the suicidality, are very similar to PMS, like fatigue, change in appetite. Yeah, but what PMDD really is like what you're describing is like I personally don't feel like I can compare what I experienced to what you're experiencing, because I think what you're experiencing is this more dysphoric disorder. Like, they have that word dysphoria in there for a reason, and I think that is like a crucial point of like what you're talking about with reality shifting.
Yeah. I guess I because if you Google it, like other places, it'll go more into like I guess what the DSM has put,
right?
Because it's like it's a disorder if it affects your life, and it does. I mean, I'm not an expert at all, but I feel like I know PMDD intimately, but even I don't know, like what why is this happening? What is this? What is, like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what's going on. But over the years, I, pay attention. I can't compare it to anything
Yeah.
because it just,
It's its own thing. Like, it's like uncomparable, it seems like. And
it makes me question everything. Like, it's not, so yeah, it's not like, oh, I'm just irritable today.
yeah.
It's like, I am deeply existentially
Mm-hmm.
affected by something, like the dog doesn't want to be pet anymore.
Mm.
My relationship, he doesn't love me anymore.
Mm.
I don't love him anymore.
Yeah.
I think maybe there's some borderline
Mm.
playing, other mental illness
Some
stuff
morbidity.
making a little soup right there. But
Right. There is some like intersectional things as well, but it sounds like even those symptoms of like other mental disorders are like different than what you experienced before your period.
right,
Because like during your good days,
happy for the most part.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
I'm good to go. I'm, have energy. I want to do stuff.
hmm
Things make sense. I feel creative. I feel like my Ritalin is working. I
mm.
feel, I mean, that is a thing.
Like
That's a big,
medications work.
yeah, my medications are working. Like, okay.
Do they feel like less effective during like
Yeah.
PMDD?
My Ritalin, I might as well not take it
Okay.
because
Yeah.
it just, yeah, everything becomes
And that is
impossible.
very crucial for people who take medication too and have like PMDD to talk about.
I mean, still take your meds. Always, still take your meds.
Absolutely, yeah,
Even if it feels like you don't need them, still need them.
yeah, 100%. But
But
definitely something to note is like how it affects you during each phase of your cycle. I feel like when people prescribe medicine, they don't think about what it's like for a bleeder
right,
of any, whether you have PMDD or not.
mm-hmm.
A lot of medicine is tested on non-bleeders. Yeah, let's go into some stats that I looked up here. So on average, 3 to 8%, which is a big margin of percentage, 3 to 8% of menstruators have PMDD. On average, 6.4 days of severe symptoms in a month, but it can last for 2 weeks, which really sucks. And also, a random fact, a menstruator on average bleeds 481 times in a lifetime, give or take with pregnancies and shit. So, I don't know, I just thought that was interesting. So, like, that's a really significant amount of time to be bleeding and to be aware, like, of your good days, your bad days, or for those with PMDD, your good weeks, your bad weeks. And with treatment of PMDD, there's a few different assessment tests that a doctor might give you, such as the PSST, which sounds like a boat, like the PSST, but it stands for PMDD Symptom Screening Tool, being one of them, and the treatment varies. So they say like exercise, which is fucking classic, and like they say exercise for everything, even if like your arm breaks, you should exercise. Diet change, stress management, which in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but not super practical advice for many people. Just it's a whole other story, but I feel like for working class people in American late stage capitalism, it can be like it's like what am I supposed to do? Like you could do the stress management skills, but it's difficult to reduce stress in the environment we're in and that the majority of people are in anyway. For food, they recommend things that are slow burning fuel, so things like carbs and protein, and lots of supplements. So get a pen for this episode if you want to hear some sweet supplements. They recommend vitamin B6, vitamin E, chasterberry, and magnesium. And then they also recommend pharmaceuticals like SRIs, benzos, suppression of ovulation through hormone therapies, danazole, which is a synthetic androgen, aka it's like what makes trans guys hot. Like it's like similar to T, but not. and then also birth control. And so some things that people with PMDD recommend are other supplements like primrose oil, St. John's wort, ginkgo, and this Chinese medicine called JQP granule. And then I also read this article on Healthline by somebody with PMDD. She mentions living cyclically, splitting the month by can do, can't do weeks, which I think is like similar to your like good weeks, bad weeks kind of thing. Only doing important things on the can't do weeks. There's yoga specifically for PMDD. There's rosemary oil, spearmint, moringa, and I'm gonna put that blog on my resource guide because it's a pretty cool article. What about you, Squid? Like, did anyone mention any of these supplements or things to you before?
No.
No. What was your
my
intake of it?
My psychiatrist, my meds doctor, he's an old man, looks like Santa Claus.
Classic psychiatrist.
I've been with him for like over 10 years, and he knows it's not quite his field, but he tries to throw some things at me. I don't think he does much research. I did Qigong for a while, and my Qigong teacher would give me these things. I never knew how to pronounce them, and they all smelled really weird. But since this was when I had the IUD in, so everything he gave me, which now I wish that I had access to again, because everything just made me bleed more.
Interesting.
Back then, everything, no matter what it was, made me bleed more. Yeah, for PMDD, I'm seeing yoga. Okay, I would try yoga.
Yeah, and they mention like a specific like PMDD yoga instructor, which I think is like really profound because a lot of people will recommend yoga, but like there's so many types of yoga that I think like it's important to like cater to like what you're trying to cultivate with yoga. Qigong, for anybody who doesn't know, that's energy work, right?
Like martial art.
Martial arts. Okay.
To me, it feels like energy tai chi.
Yeah. Okay.
With like focus on the body and healing.
Yeah.
It's a healing thing. So it's honestly, it's a little bit like Reiki to me. I feel like there's a lot of similarities.
That's a good recommendation right there.
I don't know. I've honestly been flying solo with this because my gynecologist doesn't quite. They keep changing insurance on me, so I keep having to get new ones. So it's been a lot of me doing my own research.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of wild things on.
Yeah, there's a lot of wild things, and a lot of things people say to try and not try, and I also have kidney problems, so there's also things that I cannot take for that.
Yeah.
So like for cramps, I can't take ibuprofen, and that's kind of
like a big thing.
That's a big one.
Yeah, so you have to like turn to like the natural or like other kinds of supplements for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the causes are still unknown. There are varying like risk factors and theories, but they're still figuring out which ones are true or not. However, these theories do have some consistency, just not the consistency to be able to say like, aha, yep, that's definitely the one. So they're studying things like genes, metabolites of progesterone deficiencies, as well as increase in estrogen and progesterone after ovulation. They're studying serotonin uptake, GABA, glutamate, beta endorphins. Basically, they're just trying to find the culprit of what changes it. So they're trying to find the commonality between people with PMDD and to see which hormone or neurotransmitter there's more or less of. They also kind of like try to like throw things at people with PMDD just to see what happens. For example, they tried to like treat it with serotonin because they um, thought like, oh, it might be like a serotonin thing. So they treated it with SRIs just to see what happens, which is not such a fun way to figure something out. But I think when people want to find something, they'll try. They want to find an answer, so I'm sure people are willing to try. There's a lot of treatment, but I think when they figure this out, that's what's going to be the game changer to finding like a more evidence-based and like direct treatment. Um, there's Vivi again, and she's like also like agreeing. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask, yeah, if there's anything that you felt like was a game changer in your PMDD treatment. I know you mentioned like taking your CBD and like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now that you're reading off like I did learn about the hormones from my psychiatrist.
Oh, okay.
He did, he does tell me like, hey, you're getting this because it's a drop in this, and
yeah.
I feel like, to be fair, he's also like, please ask a gynecologist, please.
Has a psychologist like mentioned any of those to you, or has a not a psychologist, a gynecologist has?
No, it feels like for the longest time before my psychiatrist was starting to get involved, it felt like I was just being passed around. Like he was saying, don't ask me, ask your gynecologist, because it's a hormone thing. And then the gynecologist is like, no, well, that's a personality disorder. Ask your psychiatrist. Ask that. And so it was kind of like going back and forth. And that's when I was like, fuck it, I'll just do my own research. I don't need you guys.
Yeah.
Because it's just so isolating. Like,
yeah.
Like, you guys, okay, you can't help me? All right, then I'll do it myself. Like,
yeah, it's like they need to like meet in the middle and truly like someone needs to like take the thing. I think that's like so interesting that they put it in the DSM-5. However, if you have a psychiatrist, they're like, you
need hormone therapy,
right? And it's like,
and they're like, we
don't
do that.
Yeah, so it's like and like someone needs to like take the ownership and begin the treatment. It doesn't matter. I don't know. Do you have like a preference of like who should be the one to like take on PMDD clients?
I would be more comfortable with my psychiatrist doing it.
Yeah.
Because they know my full story. Whereas my gynecologist just knows my,
your uterine story.
My uterine stuff. But also, but then at the same time, like, my psychiatrist doesn't really understand, like, so there would have to, a middle person with training would be good in both.
Yeah, totally. I think that would be also like really helpful, like if there was like just like PMDD specialist kind of thing.
Yeah, he's said like you can take Klonopin, which I already take because I have panic disorders.
Right.
So he's like, you can take an extra Klonopin, but I have like weird things about Klonopin because I don't want a lot of weird things with the Klonopin.
Right.
I don't want to get
like
more dependent on it. I know that long-term use leads to dementia. So I already feel like I'm headed that way, so I'm not trying to put more on it. And it just like it's weird. It's just a weird feeling at the end of the day to have had like a bunch of benzos. Like, it's not a good feeling. And so I don't do that. But the gummies.
Yeah, the gummies really help.
The gummies really help. I was afraid to have them because, yes, I am also in recovery. And I was saying before that um, my own personal standard or opinion is full abstinence from drugs and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I've always felt that way, and that's how it is. That's how it's worked for me. But suddenly I've got this thing, and people are saying, okay, well, if you try this, you know, first I was afraid of CBD because I'm like, how does that work? There's no way you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't believe. I'm like, you get high off CBD, you just don't know it.
Right.
Was my thing. But then I took it and I was like, oh, okay. But you know, it was like the mood. It's not so much. It's not like I think a lot of people think I'm talking about this for cramps and
But it's
stuff.
more for your mood
This
and your
is
mental.
yeah, this is for my mental stuff, my
Mm-hmm.
emotions and my brain, because I mean, yeah, I have to chill out.
Mm-hmm.
So I take a 5 and 5, so it's 5 milligrams of CBD and then 5 THC or Delta 9.
Mm-hmm.
The first day that I take them, they get me all fucked up, but then by the end, I can't even feel it because my tolerance is kind of crazy for
Right.
that.
What does it do with to your mental state? Like versus like a cycle without and then a cycle with.
Okay, a cycle without is crazy. I will start fights with my boyfriend. I will want to die.
Mm-hmm.
Like parts of, it's like not, it's passive at this point, now that I'm older and therapized and whatever, it's passive, but it's like
but it's still there.
I wish I didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't concentrate on anything to the point where it is upsetting and confusing. Because it's like, I can't do this. Why can I not do this? It's like I need to put like 2 shirts away in a drawer that are on a chair, and that is the end of the world. Or having to talk to people or organize something. When I was organizing things before, it was like all of a sudden everything is unbearable.
Right.
Everything is confusing. Everything is hard. And it's taken me a long time.
And how long were you like without the gummies, like doing those things? Years.
Like,
yeah,
20 years.
Holy shit.
But the problem with PMDD is it gets worse as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't as bad.
Like when you were like working, community organizing, etc.
But as I've gotten older, it's pretty brutal, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's like this monster that's kind of, I'm getting to know this monster, and I know its habits, and I know, I know who the monster doesn't like, who the monster likes to pick on, and but like I said,
and when it comes and goes.
Yeah, when it comes and goes.
And so what's it like now with the gummies?
With the gummies, I still get moody.
Mm-hmm.
And things make me cry. Everything makes me cry. But it's enough of something that gives me the chance to stop the negative self-talk and to stop. Like, so I can be like, he doesn't love me. He's doing something totally fine, whatever.
Yeah.
He doesn't love me. Nobody loves me.
Mm-hmm.
But with the gummy, I go, shut up, yes he does. Yeah. Shut up, yes you do. Shut up. Like, just tell myself.
Like you have the strength to like fight back.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, like you're, I was telling you, a big thing is like I feel like the rejection is like huge, and I get very sensitive. So with the point, like when I am petting the dog, having a nice little session with the dog, and then he decides to do something else, when I have PMDD, that guts me and makes me hate the dog. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, ooh, I'm feeling like I hate the dog. I think my cycle, I think the PMDD is starting, and that's when I know to go get the gummy. But, yeah, but as I said, I'm in recovery, and the abstinence thing, that it's hard. It's really, really hard for me. This feels like I hate gray areas, and it feels like I'm just in this gray area every month, because it's like, I like, I'm not smoking weed. I'm just taking, I try to,
You're taking this gummy.
I take this gummy with intention to change this.
Yeah.
Not.
And it seems like, it is like a harm reductive medicine.
But it's not perfect.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, okay, so it's the best so far.
Right.
Like, okay, like, this is not a long-term solution. Me being stoned for half the month is not a solution. And it's scary because there's not a lot of solutions out there. And it's very, figuring out hormone stuff is very invasive psychologically.
Yeah.
And I just, I'm not into it. I'm not into it.
Yeah, and not everybody gets to find like a gynecologist they really vibe with to do those studies with, because it's like,
right.
Yeah, it's really
involved.
intimate, and and they can bring their own biases in on, what you got going on, and
right.
Yeah.
So
so that's really important though, that you say, it's not like a long-term solution, but it is the solution that's working right now. And what would you say are like the downfalls of like using the gummies?
I don't well, for me, I'm not comfortable. That's just, it doesn't, I don't think I'll ever be comfortable knowing that I have THC in my body.
Right.
That's just in me. I don't feel comfortable being in recovery and also having THC in my body. And I have a million ways that it's okay, but it just, in that, it's not good. And the reason that I can't have, it messes with my mood and my motivation. So like, say I'm having a good day, hormones wise, I'm still not I'm still not having a good day because I'm being numbed. That's really what's going on. Is I'm just numbing myself. Yeah. So numbing myself, it's not a long-term solution.
Totally. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think that's important. Like this isn't like, a podcast for medical advice. We get to like just discuss and like see all avenues of things. So that's why it was important to like mention like the positives and like the negatives, and like, empower everyone's own decision based on that. Because, honestly, a lot of things in gynecological care is gray, because it's like, like birth control's great, but isn't all the best, or like hormone therapy is great, not always the best. Like, I feel like that's kind of with a lot of like the treatment of bleeders in our societies. So like gray, and that's why it's important to just like have these open conversations about all aspects of it. Any last things on PMDD?
It's, like I was saying, if it was just, it's different when I was just me, single, with my dog or my cat, it really, because PMDD, I think where it is most destructive is in your relationships. And it really adds a level that if you are with someone, you and your partner or partners need to work specifically on that.
like together. Yeah, I think you mentioned like you and your partner have PMDD.
Yeah, I was saying like me and my boyfriend, if it, we're not, if people say we're pregnant, it's like, okay, well, we have PMDD.
Totally.
Because he needs some treatment too when all this is going on.
Yeah.
And, it's hard because it's like when you meet somebody, I mean, this is like, people don't quite understand, like, this is a serious thing. Because it is the same thing as saying, hey, I struggle with bipolar. I struggle with,
like
whatever known mental illness.
Right.
And people are like, oh, okay. But you say, I struggle with PMDD. It's like, oh, so your PMS is really bad.
Right.
It's like, yeah. And then
it's
I'm like,
yeah, but you'll see.
It's like, yeah, but you have, like, I think I made him, I did make him, before we, like, actually were, like, official, I was like, no, you have to read about PMDD first.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I need you to know what you're getting into.
Yeah. Because
the PMDD monster wants to fuck with him the most. So, it's a big thing that you have to really work on.
And I think that's really powerful that, like, you can do that together, and to find somebody who says, okay, I'm gonna read about this and, like, let's do this together. I think that, like, that's very beautiful and inspiring to me, although I know that, like, the reason is, because of the monster wanting to attack him, but, like, I feel like that would just be so good, like, for everyone to have a culture of, like, discussing their cycle with their partners, because it's, I mean, one, important for sex, but, like, two, important for, like, just, like, getting acquainted, because it affects so much. I think it's really cool that you, like, one, that he accepted and read it and like, was like, let's do this. That's beautiful.
Well, I don't think he was like, let's do this, it's beautiful.
No, for sure. For sure.
Like, he was like, tentatively like, oh, okay.
Aw. But look at you. You're here. You got it. You made it.
I don't stress about my period anymore, though, because I got my tubes removed.
Right. So, yeah, it's not, like, so much about...
Tubal ligation.
Yeah, tubal ligation. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Tubal ligation. Ooh, we'd have an episode on that. Tubal ligation. So, that's helps with, like, not getting pregnant.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe it'll do something for my period. I don't know. Knocking things around down there. No, it didn't. I also heard somewhere, so this is not credible at all, but I heard, because I was wondering about my light periods, and a lot of this, they got lighter after I had COVID.
Interesting.
And I've had COVID like 4 times. Yeah. I've had like every strain.
Yeah. The Delta, Omicron.
Yeah, and fully vaccinated and doing everything like you're supposed to, not like some psycho, like, out partying and... Right.
No. But, like, you think it made your periods lighter?
But I feel weird saying that, because, like, I just feel like anytime anyone's, like, it's COVID related, I'm just like, whatever, shut up. So, like,
I know, they're totally, like, they'll be like, they're gonna put, like, a thing, like, we don't know anything about that. But, like, yeah.
But I do feel like something happened to my periods after COVID. Like, they got, in the time... Since having COVID, suddenly I've gone from, like, 5 to 6 day periods to, like, 3 to 4 day periods. Yeah. That's something, so I don't know.
There's something there. But, yeah, it's, like, probably not super researched and, Yeah. Awesome. Well, are you ready to get into our stories?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, y'all. We're going to do our bloodstain. I don't have... Wait, hold on. Our bloodstain.
Yeah.
That's
a fart.
It's like a cat call. It's like the... But, So I'm excited to share this story. I really wanted to share it on the episode with Squid because I'm very comfortable with her about this. So this story is about my first time doing a blood mask. And I have no idea where I heard about it. People just started talking about it, so I don't know where I heard it from first, but intuitively, I know there's a lot of content in the blood. Like some people say there's stem cells in it, some people say that's not true. I read an article about the vampire mask and its collagen production. There's also a lot of anecdotal evidence that it's good for your face, the collagen production, hormonal acne, softness, and etc. So I was very interested, and I think I read on one of my episodes like about the percentage of blood, mucus, and uterine tissue that's in it. So like there's a lot of elements that's going on in your blood. So the first time I actually like thought about it, I was in Squid's apartment, staying at her place, and I had a headache from my cycle. And I usually didn't get headaches during my cycle, but like this was when I started getting headaches, and I was in the shower and I was just like, this is really weird, but like I'm just gonna try it anyway. I just have this feeling like I should. So I just like stuck my hand in there, grabbed some blood, and put it across my forehead. And I just kind of like left it down there for a sec. Then I washed it off in the shower, and I was just like, I don't know if that really helped. And then I was just, I don't know, I just wanted to see what it would do. I just had this feeling like I should put this where it hurts. And then, but I also put like essential oil and stuff as well, and that also helped. But it was like inconclusive because I was doing like everything to
You
like.
did this for a headache?
Yeah, because I had like a headache during my period, and it was like period related headache.
Okay.
So I was like, this is a period related headache. I wonder if I put my period related blood on it, and I don't know. I was like, let's see how it works. But yeah, like my headache did get better. Don't know if it was the blood. Don't know, but I didn't keep it on that long either because I was taking a shower. What I was at my place that I'm at now, and I was just like, I want to do something kind of crazy. Like I wasn't like really thinking about like my face and my skin. I was like, I want to do some drag. Like I want to do some funky, weird shit. I don't know. I I got it from my period underwear. Um, I wouldn't recommend doing that again because luckily it wasn't like period underwear that I was wearing all day. It was like fresh blood, but like, like your period underwear will have like sweat and shit and yeah. Anyway, so I grabbed it and I just started I drew. I'm going to share this on Instagram. I didn't want to I did it like before the podcast started, so I did it like a year ago. Like I just haven't shared it yet because I'm just like this is gonna be really shocking. I feel like, but I grabbed it and I put a mustache and a goatee with my period blood. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I was just like, this is so funny, and I took some pictures of me like with my little, and I called it my blood stash. And it was just like I just wanted to do something fun and weird and like drag and like gender fuckery, but like with my period. And I can't say it didn't much for my face, but I will say it was really challenging for my mind. Like it was fun and funny to take the pictures and do it, but it was so challenging for my mind because the smell was really intense, and I wasn't used to playing with the blood. Like there's mucus in it, so it's like slimy. Um it was good, like, fresh red blood, but, like, it was a weird move to put it on, to make a mustache first as my fucking first period mask, because the mustache.
Was it chunky, or
No.
was it just, like, pure blood?
No, just pure blood. Yeah, no, I didn't put, like, a jelly on my face.
The, like, period boogers?
Yeah, no, I didn't do that, but, like, it was just the fact that I, like, immediately put it under my nose. So, like, it's right up in in my nostrils. Like, I feel like I should have, like, like, tried it on the surrounding area first. But I wanted to make a blood stash, so that's what I did. But it was just, like, lots of smell. It was like copper and salt kind of smell, like copper salty fish smell. Not like bad fish, but like just, yeah, like, I think if I were to do it again, it would need to be like in a disc or a cup, because I think that's like less smelly, because you're not getting like sweat and like old, old blood as well. So that was my first experience, and I think I would try it again, but I think I want to make it like really like fresh, not cotton and underwear, like, maybe mixed in with like water or like
Coconut oil.
coconut oil. Yeah, that would be a good one. Yeah, to do that, because it would be, it is kind of intense, I will say, but I was having fun with it. So it was really interesting to have like fun with my blood, because it's such a, interesting time. So it's like, oh, okay, like, this is fun, this is funny. And okay, so like another thing about like anecdotal evidence is that, like, have y'all ever heard that story of that like queen that like killed the virgins and like bathed in their blood?
Bathory, the Countess of Bathory.
Wow, I didn't. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna know about
that.
Of
Yeah,
course I'm gonna know about that. But we don't like her because she did some like
killing virgins and bathing in their blood.
Well,
yeah, among other things.
Among other things.
Yeah, I got you. So that just makes me think, though, like, she knew something was up with the blood, like, I wonder if later people were like, maybe you didn't need to kill those people, but, like, maybe we could just use our menstrual blood.
Yeah, squirt some of their period blood.
Yeah, like, maybe I don't think it matters if you're a virgin or not. If anyone can, you're just like, kind of like, what I think about, like, vampires, for example. Like, vampires, like, don't have to kill people. They can just take, like, shots from menstrual cups, like, like, but that was just my thought about it. But the point is that, like, this has been in, like, people's minds to use menstrual blood in all of these types of ways. Yeah, they did that article, I think it was like Vogue or something, they did an article on vampire masks, blood masks, and like, I think it'll be interesting to like find out more research what can be done, but I think for now, like, it's your blood, you could do what you want with it. And if you want to make a cute little blood stash or a blood unibrow, or just put some dots on your head, go for it. It was very interesting. It was very funny. Just like a very playful time with element that I was like, like, I wonder what that's like. This happens to me all, like, every month. Like, I wonder, like, what it feels like, And that is my blood story. That is my blood stain. Hold on, wait. Yeah. Squid, do you have a story that you would like to share?
My blood mask.
Yes, yes.
I had a Facebook group that I made a while ago. The Blasphemous Bleeders. So I was doing research, and the blood mask came up, and of course I talked to Ash. Ash is telling me about the blood mask, and it's like, you know, so I looked up different things, and you know, there's some people saying that it's not like just your own period blood, like it's like a thing you have to go get done or something, and you know, there's just all kinds. Everybody's saying everything.
Yeah,
we're in that moment now of like nobody knows, but
mm-hmm.
whatever. So I was like, I want to use the cup, but I do not use the cup because I am still confused by the cup.
Right.
So I figured, like, well, like, okay, when I start wearing a cup, then I will try this. But like I said, I'm a heavy bleeder first 2 days, so I was like determined. Like I knew when my period was coming that I was going to do a blood mask for sure.
Did you just like hold your hands under a waterfall?
Yep. I just held my hands, let it. Oh, but it's not like a waterfall. It like bloops.
Right.
Like bleh. Into the hand, or I'd like, you know, I'd go in and dig out
like a sneeze.
Get a clump, and yeah.
Wait, oh, so you got clumps?
Yeah, I had like blah, like I had all of that on my face.
Oh my god!
I told him, I was like, hey, I'm gonna be in the bathroom doing this, so
yeah. Don't, were you like, don't come in, or like you should come in?
No, like just so you know, I'm gonna be put my period blood on my face. So
yeah,
cool.
He was like, oh yeah, cool, normal Tuesday.
Yeah, there she goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like fully, because it kept drying, and I was like,
oh my god, the drying is such a sensory experience. Oh my god. The whole
time, I'm just like, god damn, I wish I was using a cup. Like, instead of just like getting at myself. And so I've done it multiple times.
With the clumps, like, does it spread out?
If you smush it.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, because it's blood. I mean, it's just full of blood. So you just kind of, I hope this is not too much. No. It's, you know, so I was just trying, because I thought a clump is like, yeah, that's good. That's like, and I mean, I wouldn't say playful. I was like, I am a goddess.
Nice.
I am Bathory. Right. I am putting period blood on my face. Like, it felt like, you know,
like a warrior. Like you're
yeah, it felt like a ritual. It felt ritualistic,
right?
You know,
right?
Like a satanic ritual.
Yeah,
like, yes, you will put blood on your face.
So, how many times have you done the blood mask?
I think like 3 or 4, because I keep saying, like, I stopped because I'm like, I am just gonna wait till I use the cup, because it's annoying, and you know.
I mean, imagine it takes a little bit of time to collect.
It takes time to collect, and it dries, and I put it on my face, but since it, like, dries, I then held, like, very, like, moist, hot towels near my skin, so that it would, like, make it moist again.
Yeah.
So then it could, like, really get into my
pores. And open the pores, yeah.
Yeah, and, like, really get into it. And then when I was, like, in the shower, I was, like, bringing the steam up onto it. Because, like, I mean, I'm huge on face masks.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know there's, like, placenta for your hair, and I cannot.
Whoa.
I cannot. It's, like a Sally Beauty Supply. You can just get, like, this little thing. It's, like, you know, it's, like, gold and whatever, and it's placenta. If you shake it up, I gag. I cannot do that. Maybe my own placenta I could put on myself, but, like, it's somebody else's. I
is a little
retch
weird.
And gag. And
I just wonder who's, like, donating their placenta.
Well, I think it's, like, cows or something.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's always human level of everything, I'm sure. You just have to be rich enough.
Right, right.
Because the Kardashians are not,
give me a placenta of a virgin.
Yeah. That...
Wait, that does not make any sense.
But that does not make any sense. That is not a thing. But
yeah, the Virgin Mary's placenta.
Oh my god.
Okay, wait, but so you did it, so you put the steam to open the pores.
Yes.
That's very cool.
I am huge on face masks.
That's cool.
And so I was really, like, into it, and it felt very luxurious.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't, you know, it felt like this is something, like, super rich people get to have.
Right. And it's just from you.
And it's from me. And,
yeah.
like, I made it myself. So.
How long do you keep it on?
Like 30 minutes.
Okay.
Just average kind of mask time.
Mm-hmm.
But I cannot wait. But it's so thin.
Mm-hmm.
When I get a cup, because I know I'm going to use a cup, I'm going to try and use a cup, I'm going to just, like, cake that on.
Yeah.
And
what?
the smell, I'm like, whatever about the smell. Like, it's blood from my vagina. It's not going to smell great.
Yeah.
But the benefits, it made my skin just so soft.
Yeah?
Yes. I wouldn't keep doing it. It's not like I'm like, ooh, this is just, like, fun to do.
Yeah.
Like, it does make your skin soft. It did help definitely with, like, puffiness, and I have some, like, acne scars and things, and
did it help with, like, hormonal acne? Because I get really oily skin before my cycle.
I don't know what it was, but there was something that it helped. And you know what? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's all just, like, placebo.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. It makes me feel good, and
I mean, there's something to say, like, if after you take it off, you feel soft, like, that is something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, soft, and, like, I just feel
is it easy?
Glamorous.
Like, mine was easy to take off. Was yours easy to take off with, like, the clumps?
Yeah, just, like, except, like, in my eyebrows.
Yeah.
Cause, like, but, yeah, I put the whole thing.
I just imagine Jeff being like, or your boyfriend being like, oh, honey, like, you got something in your eyebrow. You got something in your hair.
Yeah, it's period, but don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my story, and it continues, and when I get when I use the cup that I have, it'll be awesome.
Yeah, that'll definitely up the game, for sure. Alright, and those are our period stories. Wait, where the fuck is my fin? There. Period stories. Now we're gonna go on to our product review. Alright, y'all. Our product review today is the Flex Cup. So, I talked a little bit about the Flex Cup on the disability episode, and today, live with us, we have an actual Flex Cup. So, just to recap on the Flex Cup, it's by the company Flex. The co-founder of this specific Flex Cup is Jane Adam, who was inspired to create this cup because she has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a connective tissue disorder characterized with joint disability. And so she had issues inserting cups and pulling cups out because she would dislocate her fingers and shoulders and hips. So that's the main reason behind the invention of this type of cup, because when you put a cup in, it relies on suction to stay in place, and in order to take it out, you need to unsuck the cup, or
break the seal.
Yes, you have to break the seal. So you have to stick your finger in there, break the seal, and pull it out, which is a lot of fine motor movement. So in this cup, when you pull on the tab, it breaks the seal for you. So yeah, basically it was invented in 2018, and then added to the Flex company. And she's pretty, the person who invented it, she's really cool. She's a corporate advocate. Menstruators shouldn't have the burden to making that moral decision of I should use this because it's more sustainable. It should be the job of the corporations to make sustainable products. And she's all about accessibility and inclusion, and basically is just whatever works best for you. If you need to use Tampax, use Tampax. If you need to use like non-sustainable products, that's what you got to use. It's most accessible for you. And so I really like appreciate that for people who work in like big companies like Flex. They are hypoallergenic. Like a lot of doctors recommend this. You have um, two sizes for this. So Squid has size number 1, which is 3 tampons full. Do you feel like that's a good amount of tampons?
I guess. I don't know. I just grabbed this. This was like the last one. I don't know about sizes. I don't know about
also
any of that. I was just like, oh, this looks like a cup, and it's the only thing left, so I will take it. I knew nothing.
Well, 3 tampons. Oh, okay. This is important. The capacity of 2 super tampons, which is 22 milliliters. Because I was thinking, like, well, what if they're like, I wonder if they mean 2 like regular size tampons or 2 like, so like they're talking like 2 super size tampons.
Okay, so this is size 1.
And then size number 2 is 3 tampons.
Okay. Okay. Because honestly, I'll tell you the reason I picked this one, because, I want to go for, like, naturally, sustainably looking things. Okay, this was the only one that was, like, in a brown, recycly box. So I was like, oh, well, brown box must mean better for the earth.
It is. They're,
so it is purely on packaging.
It's 100. It's 100% recycled packaging.
Yeah, and you can usually tell when something's like that. So that is literally the only reason that I picked this. It was like, oh, you're all that's left except for this and
all the plastic.
This plasticky one. So,
and the cup is made with renewable eucalyptus fiber. And what else did it come with?
Instructions.
Yeah, instructions.
And 2, well, you can't see in, but menstrual discs.
Yeah, it came with 2 free menstrual discs, which is really nice. Just in case you want to try out a disc while you're at it, too. And they're like the disposable kind, right?
Yeah, they're the disposable kind, which I didn't even know there was not disposable kinds.
Yeah, technology.
I mean, like, honestly, I cannot believe all of this stuff, because, I mean, before it was, like, tampons, pads, and if you wanted to, like, really get, like, hippie with it, the sponge.
Right, the sponge, oh my gosh.
Like, sea sponge and rinse it out in the school sink, which nobody likes. So.
Same with cups. Nobody really likes if you're like, oh yeah, let me just pour this out. The instructions are like,
because it has a hole in it. Upon first seeing
I was gonna talk about
it's because the reason why I haven't used it is because I'm like, I don't know what this thing is. What is this thing? It's got a hole. I picked the wrong thing. I don't know. I'll look it up one of these days.
When I read about this cup, I was like, wow, this is really great. When you look at the advertising and the picture in the front, it is a full cup. It's a cup with a little loop at the bottom that you could use to pull out. But when you open it up, the cup does not have that loop to pull out. That loop is dangling on the lip of the cup, and what you have to do is assemble it, and like there's a hole in the center of the cup, which is like a really weird design, because you're like, won't it just spill out the hole in the cup? You have to insert.
You have to do it like the topsy tail. Do you remember those?
No.
The topsy tail is like it was like a hair tie that you pull, and then you make a little space in your hair and you pull it through.
Yeah,
that's exactly what you do with that.
Yeah, you have to assemble it basically. So you put like the tail into the cup through the hole, and it creates a seal, and suddenly then it looks like the picture. But when you first get it, it looks nothing like the picture. That can be so confusing because the instructions don't mention it.
Right. And the box does not mention it.
Yeah.
Nobody mentions it. So I was like, wait a minute, what is this thing?
Yeah. So Flex Cup, come on. like, I'm just wondering how someone with finger dexterity issues might put this, like, through that little hole in there and assemble this. Once you do, though, I totally see how it works. So, like, after you put the loop through the hole, you assemble it, basically. It creates a seal on that hole, which is great. And you see the cup, and as soon as you pull on the tab, like as if you're pulling it out, it breaks the seal, it breaks the suction, and then you can pull it out, which is awesome because it makes it like you also won't spill it either, I imagine, because you're not like pushing it in or squeezing it in a way that will like make the fluid come out. It just kind of like pulls it so it almost like closes the top lip a little bit. Yeah, it's interesting the instructions didn't mention like that you need to assemble it. It just says like wash your hands and fold it, and then you sit and you insert it. Oh, and then they mention like opening it to make sure like it completely has fully opened, like, because if it's not opened, it means the suction won't, stay in place. And to remove, say wash your hands and pull the tab. Well, now that you have it like assembled, how do you feel about it?
I think it's weird, but I'll still use it.
Yeah.
I want to wear it like a ring pop.
Yeah, so like the tab is a loop. The thing that you pull is a loop, and it is finger sized. So it really is like I feel like it's like a little fidget toy.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not. So I'm gonna end up like breaking it.
Yeah, because it's the material. This eucalyptus fiber is incredibly stretchy versus like some other cups are very like a little bit harder. Not terribly harder, but a little bit harder. But I mean, two supersized tampons is pretty good. I feel like that's like a good like maybe like I don't know 6 to 8 hours. That's what's up. But yeah, that's the Flex cup. How do you feel about the discs that it came with?
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like I'll figure out the cup and then I'll figure out the disc.
right, right.
Because tampons really aren't giving me too many problems. Truly, the only reason I want to use the cup is to make the face mask and to put the period blood in my plants.
Yeah.
And I want the cup for ease of my arts and crafts.
Yeah, basically, yes.
Because because tampons don't bother me.
Yeah.
I have like big giant ones and they're fine.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really good marketing for these companies. Like, if anything else, use it for your face masks and plants. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a fun advertisement to see. Like, so tampons super boring. If you have a cup, you could.
Here's what you can do.
You can make a mustache, a blood goatee, a full mask, put on your tomato plants. How many? So I know you haven't used it yet, but just from what you've experienced with seeing and learning about it, how would you rate it 1 out to 10? 10 being the best product in the world.
I don't know. I've never seen any other cup.
That's true.
I don't have anything. So I don't know how to numerically, but I am optimistic and excited to try it.
All right, hell yeah, hell yeah. I'm gonna give it like, for me, I'm gonna give it like a 7 out of 10 because, okay, the points I like because it's from eucalyptus fiber, it's recycled plastic, it's soft, but I didn't like that they didn't mention like how you need to assemble it. Squid is like chewing on the cup right now. We've definitely messed with this cup so much during this episode. We've been just like playing around with it. But yeah, so I feel like there could be more ease with this cup, with more instruction, and just like the hole in the middle of the cup really throws me off. But I know once you loop it in there, it's totally fine. And the other thing I like about it is that it is kind of smaller than like other menstrual cups, which I feel like is good for like first time users who might be intimidated by like honk and chonker. Like these discs are pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is the Flex Cup. All right. I'm gonna go to our final segment here. Alrighty. Okay, one more thing I wanted to say about the Flex Cup. P.S. I like that it's black because some people like don't like clear cups because they get stained. And so I think for like a first time user, I think that's like nice to have like a black cup because it's not going to get stained. And I don't mind the stains personally because I'm like, wow, like this fluid is powerful. Now we're going to go onto a little thing I call period history. And we're going to talk a little bit about the history of finding out about PMDD. So, PMDD has been around since people have been bleeding. Like, it's been around for a long time. But the nomenclature for this has changed over the years. They called it Menses Moodiness. Menses Moodiness, which I feel like is like, yeah, Menses Moodiness, which I feel like is a band name.
I like that. I'd rather call it my Menses Moodiness.
Yeah, yeah, Menses Moodiness. I like the alliteration. And then in the 18th century, they changed it to premenstrual tension. And then in the early part of the 19th century, they called it premenstrual syndrome in the 1950s. Then they called it, PMDD specifically, they called it late luteal dysphoric disorder, which is now known as PMDD. And this accounts for the most severe form of PMS with the greatest impairment in functioning, perceived quality of life, prompting people to seek treatment. Anyone who has ovaries can have PMDD, including trans individuals. It wasn't until recently that they had diagnostic criteria for it, and this started in 1987. So I could be wrong about this, but a man named Robert Frank first described PMDD in 1931 in his study called The Hormonal Cause of Premenstrual Tension, and he theorized that it was estrogen at fault. And one of his solutions was to remove the ovaries or radiation therapy on them in order to reduce the estrogen in the body.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I know.
It's like, oh, why don't you get a lobotomy for it?
Right, basically they're just like, well, this is causing you problems, let's just like take it out of there. So however, somebody later, so that was in the 1930s when he discussed, and that was before they made like the diagnostic criteria for it. They were just like, well, we don't know what this is, but let's just like do radiation and figure it out. However, so later, somebody by the name of Katharina Dalton in 1955, she made it a mission to investigate it and make it medically legitimate as a disorder, and went so far as to be a chief defense medical expert on a murder case in London, because the murderer was suffering from extreme PMS in the 1980s. And this court case made it become into public light in the US, and everybody became aware, and that's kind of what like sparked medical legitimacy through this.
Someone had to die.
Basically, for them to be like, oh, this isn't just like Menses Moodiness, this is like something we should
this is lethal.
We should learn about this. So thank you, Katharina Dalton, for that work. That is really intense. And I don't know how I feel that she like this murder. We gotta let this murderer go. She just had, but it's that really weird thing where it's like, oh, I don't know if that was like the best move, but for
had to happen.
Yeah, for like all of us, like, the effects were important. So as I mentioned, this has been throughout history. Like, people menstruate, people have PMDD. People have always experienced PMS and PMDD, and in I don't know how to say this number, 3800 BC, the Cahun gynecological
Gynecological.
yeah, Cahun gynecological papyrus. It's an Egyptian gynecology scroll, and it describes the symptoms of PMDD. So that was a very long time ago, and at that time, it was not pathologized or seen as illness. However, the guy, Robert Frank, and Thomas Sydenham were the two main influencers in the 1930s who began this motion of like female hysteria, quote unquote. But yeah, so that is the history, some history. I know that there is so much more that happened with that. But those are some of the main pioneers of like studying PMDD was this guy, Robert Frank, and then Katharina Dalton. That is all for our episode. That is all I have in our notes. But this has been such an illuminating and like super deep and fun as well episode. Go check out my resource guide, everybody. Go check out, if you have an Instagram, go check out my highlight reels. And yeah.
Adopt, don't shop.
Adopt, don't shop. Yes. All right. End of pod.